So all you know the deal. If it's the first time here, welcome. Going to talk a little bit about today the weight on a string slash double pendulum. But before I get going, I always like to make sure that you guys can see me, that I'm one, that I'm right-handed, and that two, that you can hear me okay. Is I got a new microphone that I'm kind of putting on the belt, and that seemed to work pretty well this last time. And I've just had some Zooms today, and then I had a guy come over, one of my clients come over here and train, work on some putting, and then we did some gymnastic body, which is the first time I've trained in a while. I used to do that all the time, and shockingly, I can still do quite a few of the skills. So I guess if you don't lose it, you get to a certain level that you can kind of go back to entry skills, which is kind of fun. So I'm looking forward to getting back into the journey of doing gymnastic body. If you go to gymnasticbody.com, I make no money on that whatsoever. I just think it's a wonderful training program. I do remember that my first year at Country Hills, where I really wasn't known and I wasn't doing a website and wasn't doing a Zoom lessons and all the stuff that I do now. Um, I trained pretty hard, and my club head speed was like 112, 113, something like that when I started. And after about a solid year of training and not much golfing, and definitely not any speed training, I was hitting 125 to 130, just from getting stronger and more flexible. So I find that interesting. Anyway, can you guys hear me? A little muffled. Let me see if I can move it a little bit closer up. Okay. Tell me, this could be bad. Just tell me if it's bad. Okay, I'm gonna make sure I don't turn it off. I'm gonna put it up here and see, and you tell me if it's is that worse or better? Because I'm just talking normal. So if it feels like I'm screaming at you guys, tell me, and I'll put it back down here on my pocket. Much better already. Okay, cool. So I'll just leave it here. Well, the other one that my old one I put up here, you guys said it was sounding like I was screaming. It probably was just kind of, I guess, maybe short circuited or whatever. So anyway, so yeah, so that's so just letting you guys know the more, obviously it's not, that's the stuff I think I say is kind of simplistic for people to understand. Um, but even the guy that I was training was very very fit in bodybuilding world, but not fit in gymnastic bodies, which correlates to me. Bodybuilding will correlate a certain level, but it's not going to work on your flexibility and your strength at the same time, like a gymnastic bodies will. So let me just make sure you guys can hear me okay, and we're all good. So anyway, yep, that's fine. So now I want to get into just a little bit of explaining a little bit more in a simple way that the golf club swings, and I've said this even on like one of my very first times when it was, a couple of years ago, when I talked about what the hands do and all of that is, and I've even had a client that was doing the compound pivot but really wasn't having any hand action, and or also doing the bucket motion and still not having hand action. But the hands are what literally will get the golf club up over the shoulder. And so the more supple that you can have the wrist where they hang with no tension in the forearm and no tension in the arm, upper arm, right? That the more that when it swings, that the forearm will rotate automatically, the hand will automatically go where it's supposed to go, and the golf club just kind of swings up over the shoulder. And you can see, and when I do this a lot of people sit there and say, "When your golf swing never looks like it's out of balance or not," and it's really not, because I've learned now to understand the importance of the grip and the grip pressure, because if I let this thing swing, you'll see it just goes right up over my shoulder where it's supposed to be, and then over my shoulder on the other side. Now that's as simple as a golf swing will ever get. So I think people get a little confused on how simple that motion is. And are you, watch the difference, okay? Because I've done this on some videos before, but I just don't think that you guys understand the importance of it. is that the more that you swing your arm on the backswing, the more linear the motion and the less hand. So as long as you're keeping your arm relaxed, your hand rotates and moves, and there's your width over your shoulder, and there's your full golf swing. Now, a compound pivot is nothing more than that with a support system where when you swing it back, you let your weight go to your right leg. That's a support system that's all on the right leg. If you're in the middle, you still swing the hands and arms up over the shoulder, and you can see how my weight and body distributes a little bit more level and a little bit to the left. And if I'm lead leg, I just kind of go from here. My weight as the golf club starts to swing back, my pressure just goes to my left leg a little earlier. That's really it. But the hands are still making the weight on a string kind of feel. So you can swing a weight on a string, double, which a weight on a string, by the way, is a double pendulum. A pendulum would be if you had a fixed point and you literally just move it like a grandfather clock. That's not the case. You don't hook it to your shoulder. I've heard some other golf instructors say that you move the shoulder and the shoulder only moves because of the body. You don't put it here and then it moves, okay? So the only way that this thing moves in a pendulum manner is double pendulum manner is by the hands being supple, and you can clearly see how that looks compared to putting muscle and tension in your hands and now moving your hands with muscle tension. See, that's totally different and totally different looking. And your body will have a hard time to, in my opinion, be able to respond to this swinging by the hand. I want to make that as crystal clear as you as possible that the more that you can get your hands being supple, soft, and letting the swing. See, now this would be a little bit more middle. That's more trail, and that's lead. Can you see? So but this thing still has to swing. I think people lose sight of that. I've said it many times that the legs are just support systems. You do not try to twist the torso up here, the midsection. If you do that, now you're going to be out of sequence and out of importance. You're not trying to take your right shoulder blade back, your left shoulder down. You're not trying to do any of that because as soon as you swing this golf club up over my shoulder, where does my where is my right shoulder go? Well, you guys can clearly see, look, it went back, didn't it? So I don't have to focus on my shoulder going back or anything of that nature. I just want you guys to understand that you don't have to do as much as you think you have to do. So even when I was telling like the sling back method, you're still the golf club, it still has to swing. You're just feeling the weight transfer through your feet a little bit. But people overdo it. They start really starting getting into the legs. They start really shifting and thinking that that moves the golf club, where the hands being supple is really what this is all about. If I could literally have one swing thought for you guys, it would be as simple as swing your hands over your shoulder on this side and swing your hands over the shoulder on that side. Okay. So now I will take questions. I've got plenty of time. I've set up a little extra time. I don't have to go get my son. I only do that on Fridays. And actually, we're going to uh, Duke University, where his son's graduating from there. He is still going to a graduation thing on from like Thursday through Sunday. So I will be doing some Zoom lessons on Saturday. They'll just be a little bit more in the morning, and then I'll be able to do a lot of other lessons and things when I come back the following week. So, all right, let's go. Let's see. Hey Mango and hey Maverick, how you doing, buddy? All right, is your cupped left wrist just a product of your grip? Because I feel like I have to manipulate my wrist to get wrist cup to top. Yes, it is. So it's really understand what you so first of all understand what you're saying. It's not really cupped like you think. So when my hand is hanging natural here, like it's at its side, it's about three knuckles that you can see, and you can see the little soft part of the you know pocket scaphoid bone right here is right on top. And so when I swing it back by the hands, you'll see there's a little cup here, little cup here. Oh, by the way, did you guys see that live lesson I did with Russ? Like I was almost in tears with it because I the progression that he's been in now over a year is remarkable. Where he was major body turner, bent way over, had his hands in the wrong spot, couldn't swing a golf club to what you saw. It's pretty profound. But anyway, so the hands here, so you'll see the softness go here. So I'm going to go like this so you can see it now. So you see how it's pretty flat, pretty flat, pretty flat, and then at the top where the thumb creates all the pressure, it looks like it's cupped. Now this is cupped. See, I'm not cupped. See, it's from flat to being bent longer, which is what makes the wrist go into it's called dorsal. This, you don't want to just go into cupped, it bends. Now, what? I know that sounds silly to say. Look, see how it bends, which makes it look like it's cupped, and then there's cupped. So I don't want you to think about cupping the wrist. I want your wrist to be as supple as possible. So easiest way to feel that is to take your golf club in front of you and just lay it on your shoulder. And when you laid it on your shoulder, how did you do that? Now, if I lay it on my shoulder and cup my wrist intentionally, I will overly straighten my left hand and arm, and then that's cupped. And now my elbows are really close together, and I don't want that. So don't think about this being cupped. This is as simple as I talk about it. When you get your grip right here, and you take this golf club and put it over your shoulder, do you have tension in your hands or your elbows? Go on and tell me. Do you have tension in your fingers and your hands right here? You won't. That's the tension level that I have here. Okay? And then on the follow through, that's the same tension level that I have here. So that's the backswing and that's the downswing. Now, where do you see my arms doing a whole bunch? I think people get confused. Even when I talk about the arm going to the target, the golf club is still swinging and the hand still has to go over the shoulder. Well, it's not technically the hand releasing, it's the weight of the club swinging to the target that allows the hand to then rotate to put it over the shoulder. But most people are forgetting that and they're starting to just swing their arm out, and it looks very linear like this. And there is no hand over here, hand over here. Okay. So really understand the difference of that. That's a great question. Do you guys understand this? I'm going to make this super simple, and eventually everybody that will get this. Oh, by the way, this is the best time. This will be like my last little Zoom special until like the US Open. I'm doing the only package. So if you buy three, you can just do it once, buy three lessons, you get three free. You don't have to use a link. You don't need the code. There's no code. You just do that, and that gives you 6 Zoom golf lessons with me for the price of three, and that should be enough to get you well on your way to playing some of your best golf for this season, and to really be able to help you and not be able and not what I feel like is not break the bank budget. Okay. Especially with all this gas increases and stuff right now. Okay. Rock fan, what you got, buddy? I want to thank you on behalf of everyone that cannot afford golf lessons because good lessons from a great teacher. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, that's the reason why I was doing that. So just I understand. Like Google pays me Google dollars and all, the advertising dollars and all that stuff. That's the reason why I have to have commercials in my videos. Okay, so that's how I kind of that's how I get a little bit of my income from that. And so I'm trying to give you guys as much as possible. The only thing that I would say is what you think you do and do are two different things. So just really focus like on this pendulum action of your hands, and are you supporting your weight on your right or middle or left, that kind of thing. And if you want individual attention, I feel like that's a very, very affordable one to do the buy the three and get three. So, but if you don't, and I appreciate your support and thank you so much for the wonderful kind comment. Okay, let's see. I'm with Peck. Narrow in the shoulder, so it's hard for me. A little roll goes flat swing. Stay in front looks good, but it's manipulated. Hands in, club out. I drag, let it rotate. I get flat. Yeah. So really, all that means is so when you try to over manipulate this, so you've trained your because And remember now, this is what you have to do kind of in front of a mirror to kind of get this feeling to where you understand it. I would have you guys do just if you have a tendency to over rotate your uh, golf club behind you, meaning your arm has a tendency to get away from you and the golf club goes around like so, because you've been told to turn or to try to manipulate the golf club where you bow the wrist and all that. Usually you're out of balance at setup, so make sure that you're not over on your toes because if you're over on your toes, that'll have a tendency to make the golf club go out and away from you for balance. So that check that first. Second is just do the left hand. Grab your upper forearm, okay? So technology's arm, and don't move it. And now just train this golf club to swing. This would be moving it with muscle, okay, tension, and this is letting it swing. And you'll feel how the golf club swings and the butt of the club will point at the ball and the ball on the other side, and you'll train. Now, when I'm doing this, can you see how little this is moving compared to what you think? I think that you guys really don't get this when I've said this before. So I feel like it's a broken record at times, but the navel for a full golf swing, whether it's lead leg, whether it's trail, whether it's middle, okay? It's only support systems. Like I said, this navel will move 1, 2, 3, and maybe 4 inches. This golf club will move some 15 feet around me. That's a big 15 to 18 feet, depending on how big the circle is. So this little dude right here, I don't really want you guys focusing on this thing so much as I want you focusing on this. So once you get this thing swinging, and look how little my arm moves, because again, that's how you practice getting the golf club up over your shoulder. See, so if you put it over your shoulder, turn your navel to 3 inches like you're supposed to, there's your extension, there's your golf club. Now, if I bring that right back out in front of me, look where my arm is. See, my arm doesn't really travel. It just, this arm goes where this goes, and that moves because of the hands, and that moves because of the weight of the club and centrifugal force. See? So when you do that, look at the full golf swing that you have. So I would train your left hand first, then get your right hand on it to make sure that is it your right hand that's rolling it, and then get the feeling of that. So that is just something that you're going to have to train. You have old myelin, and that's just something that you're going to have to train to break up. I understand it because I've had it before because I've been there. I mean, do you think I just immediately got this? No, like I've had to struggle, I fought shanks, I fought golf club laying off and all that. And that still instinctively happens every once in a while when I swing my arms out independent of my body, the golf club will go out wide, my hands didn't cock till later and the golf club could lay off. So, if the golf club is not swinging, see, now, you might even see, and I have a video of me hitting a little three-quarter pitching wedge or so, like 130 yards or so. And I just did it yesterday. So it looks, again, feeling real slightly different, but it looks like that I'm linear, but my hand has this little cup in it right here as it swings back. It's right there, and then it swings through, and the left wrist goes into extension as I'm going through. And all I'm doing is just swinging just this, okay? So you just have to break that habit of trying to do something with your arms, and I think that's where that happens. Main problem is I think my main problem is I'm still too flat in my backswing, so my wrists are not working properly. Yes. Yes, Gregory. So therefore, you have to focus even more on just the hands swinging up over the shoulder and practice getting that feeling of that. And the visual would be when you do that, especially with the left arm, that the butt of the club will point right at where the golf ball is and right the golf ball. I'll do it this way so you guys can see it. So it's just kind of end over end this way. And that is an easy look. I mean, that's almost a full golf swing right there. I didn't do hardly anything. And that gets the golf ball plenty far with very little effort, which is what we're after. All right. Let's see. In is one way better or worse for a person that is lead or dominant? I'm right-hand person that plays left-handed. No, it's fine. It's because it's still a double pendulum. So you might feel you got to, in my opinion, I think most people should train their left hand and then also train their right hand. So the right hand actually would, if you see it when the golf club is in the correct grip with the right hand, the right hand will hinge back, the forearm rotates naturally, but if you'll notice, it's just going right up over my shoulder like it's supposed to. I'm not trying to cock my hand, I'm not trying to keep my elbow here. I'm just literally letting this just go up over my shoulder. So I don't think of my left or my right hand when I'm doing this. That's just a drill. I focus on just this golf club with both hands equally pressured. Understand, see, your guys are missing out on this point again. My hands are hanging with no tension, just like I'm hanging like I'm talking to you and walking. So when I grip this and I put this up over my shoulder like this, that's the tension level that I have. So when you put this golf club up over your shoulder and then I take it, and then if I lift it up a little bit, now the pressure is going to be on my thumb to support the weight. But that happens instinctively. But as soon as you guys start to squeeze or try to cock the golf club or put it somewhere, that's when you get in trouble. Understand that this thing right here doesn't weigh that much compared, and it doesn't take that much to move. I mean, look how much degrees of separation this has from my hands and arms, and my elbow and my forearms barely moving. So you can play either way. Let's see. Oh, okay. I'm with Rock Fan 2. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Maverick. All right. Let's see. Nuking it now with supple Roger grip. Yay! But swaying the head off the ball. All right, well, stop doing that. So when I try to correct that, body gets rigid and lose that. So best way to ingrain head not swaying, but still loose. Yes. The reason why your head moves is because your stance is probably a little too wide. Your knees are a little bit kind of flexed or so, and your posture is maybe a little bent over. Try to stand as tall and as natural and feet a little bit closer together to where then when you swing this back, your head just stays there. See, if I get really wide and now I try to swing the weight of this thing, my head has to move a little bit because now that doesn't look near as freeing, does it, guys? See, if my stance is too wide, I really can't have a free flowing swing. It's really difficult for me to be like this wide and let the weight of the club swing without my head having to move over here to support it. Why is that? Because if you are a bent leg trail player, your leg, wider stance, like Cam Young doesn't swing a pendulum. I know he wins golf tournaments. I'm not bad mouthing his golf swing. He is loading his leg and he is linear in his motion and he gets over here in his right side, which is more of that bucket motion if you watch some of my videos that I talk about. And so then he has to shift over to the left and let it go. If your stance is too wide, you have to let your head move off the ball and you will no longer be a centered player. Your feet have to be between 12 to 15 inches apart because that's the only way to have a pendulum swing where the right pelvis goes out, see, naturally, because the head stays on center. So that's my compound pivot. There's middle and there's lead. But what do you see on all of it? Now, if you go really wide, and let's say you're going to go wide and lead, it's going to be real hard for you to what? Not be able to be able to push back. So to the extreme, people that stand very, very wide are going to have more head movement one way or the other. Yes, that's good. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know what sleeper build. I don't know what sleeper build is. Natasha, you can ask me what's the question? Oh, he's buff act. Oh, well, thank you. I'm just now like so. That's funny. Like I haven't worked out in forever, and I literally just worked out today and just did the gymnasticbodies.com workout with a client of mine. So it's only going to improve because I've really been so focused on being able to do so many Zoom golf lessons. I stepped away from the golf course. I really haven't been able to train near as much as I want to, but it's funny that peptides and things have kind of kept me somewhat in the game with without me training much. So well, thank you for the compliment. All right, let's see. Samuel, towards the end of my backswing, I feel like my right shoulder blade and elbow get loosey-goosey, all right? Kinda like I was shortstop throwing a ball first base. Not sure if this is correct feel or not. So when you're doing are you losing here's the thing, are you losing width, okay? Meaning, like, when you take it back and are you getting this to get closer? See, if you're getting this to get closer, then no. Usually what happens is, again, look at stance width, okay? Because if you stand a little too wide, here's another thing that happens. If you're trying to swing this weight on a string back, you'll move your head off and then kind of recenter a little bit like that, and that'll throw your shoulder blade and your arm a little closer as well. So just be careful. You have to stance width is a really big thing here, uh, compared to being a bent leg, trail leg, or middle player. So when you're swinging this back, that hand has to go up over the shoulder, and if you start to try to, that little move there with the shoulder blade probably seems like that you were probably stretching out here to then try to stretch the shoulder back. So it's kind of like that motion. So no, I don't like that when your stance is too wide. Let's see. And I'm still on the max shoulder, but necessarily body turn. Yep. Thinking that's max speed. Yes. All right. So I will add some physics light on why it might not be as much as been illustrated. Yep, that's fine. Give me 1 second here. Okay. So this is the deal that hits the golf ball a long way from here to here. So when this goes here, look how far the club head can swing, and the grip end is, say, here. And then when it comes back, it's accelerating as it goes through. So look at the grip and how that accelerates the head as the grip goes back. When you swing this weight, as you can see how my hands move, that freely moves my shoulder back. When people try to move the body first, the problem with this is that the golf club has a hard time swinging, and the golf club will go behind you because it's out of sequence and out of importance. It's too linear like this. Where you guys are getting in trouble is you're trying to take this triangle and this arm and keep it straight and try to move it away. It's what you've been told since day one, and it's not true, because the more that you take this away, then the later that the wrist cock has to happen, and that's timing. Now, there are golf pros that can do that, but the average amateur can't. And that's why people can't break 100 or have a hard time. If they just understood that the hands are the only thing that takes the golf club up over the shoulder, that would be so much easier. Doesn't this look easy that I could stand here on the right leg and left leg and do this and be in balance? But as soon as I take this golf club away linear like this, now I have to counterbalance and do different things. So that is the number one thing that I want to get you guys across. Quit thinking of trying to move your arm somewhere and just let the weight of this thing swing, but you have to have the correct grip and you have to have the correct pressure. This is another thing, and this was a lesson with Russ that he did. His tendency was to put it there in the palm, and that right there will stop your golf club from moving. This has to be on top where the hand can then rehinge on the other side freely. If you put it in the palm and you try to swing, look what happens. My wrist would go bowed like so. The shaft doesn't advance. Now understand this. This will piss some people off. This does not advance the shaft. Look, this. Look how much this club compared to there. Now, what was the difference? One is the correct grip. Look how easy that is to swing both ways. This is in the palm now a little bit too much, and now you'll see that the shaft doesn't advance but going back and under. So you're losing range of motion. Does that give you a better answer? Would getting across the line at the top like Freddie be better than flat? Yes. Now, he doesn't, again, so watch this. Watch the angle of what you're thinking, what you see Freddie do. Because Freddie's the ultimate, like, weight on a string, kind of let the golf club swing freely pendulum, right? So when the pendulum goes back, and I'm doing it with the right hand, okay? So, and I can do it with both, but watch. You'll see. There it is. as it continues to go on its arc and you leave it alone, it won't stay here. It will do, and the hand will rotate, and the golf club is over here. So if I let this weight on a string swing further back, that's correct here. He lets it swing back further, and that's why it looks like the golf club crosses the line and makes it look like the wrist is cupped more. But I promise you, he doesn't go here and then cup the wrist. The golf swing continues on its lengthened journey. You ever want to see a long golf swing, you look at someone like John Daly as well, who takes the golf club and it just continues to swing back and around. And so his grip looks like and his hands look like it's in that position. And that's the reason why people sit there and go, oh, well, long drivers have a stronger grip. Not really stronger. It's really correct. See, this is how your hand hangs anatomically. So all you're doing is letting the wrist move freely over your shoulder here, over your shoulder there. See, it's not cupped. That's that. It's just bending back. Alrighty. Due to my arthritis affecting my grip, ooh, that's not fun. I have to use the baseball grip. Can you address the situation again? Yeah. So when you do a baseball grip, there's nothing wrong with it. The number one reason why I don't advocate it, first of all, I'm sorry that you have arthritis grips. Try not to get the bigger grips, even though I know, because it has a tendency to put it in the palm too much for one. So what's the hardest thing that you're going to have to overcome? Okay, is that when you have the correct right hand grip, baseball ish, it's no longer in the second phalanx. Okay, it's going to be all in the first. Okay, because why? Because the pinky, if it's on it, then it goes second, second, second. But watch, it'll go. Can you see this clearly? Look, that's baseball. Okay, there, and then you hook it across the second one on the pointer finger. Okay, now what is the major problem with this? Well, you've got 10 fingers on the golf club. So, real easy for me to wring its neck and squeeze the ever loving crap out of it and not have a pendulum. You can still have a pendulum. You just have to have it. And I'll bring it in here a little closer again. Look, see these fingers? Soft. And then these fingers? Soft. See, they're not touching. So, if you'll notice, you'll see how pay attention to these kinds of my part of my forearm. See how they're kind of when I squeeze them, how the muscles are moving there? So you want this to be soft to where the weight of the golf club can swing, but it's going to be hard for you with 10 fingers to not want to have tension and to squeeze it. The more you squeeze a golf club, the more it's a hit, the more your hands are passive, the more the golf club can swing freely on its own and on the correct plane and on the correct path, and your body can respond. I can't stress that enough. Let's see. Hey Mike, let's see here. Thanks so much. Got in late and just heard the bad zooms. Yep, you're still good. No, you're fine. It stops tomorrow at midnight. So anybody that wants to do the 3 zooms, buy 3. I put the link in it on the site here. Buy 3 and you get 3 free. So that gives you 6 Zoom hours with me. You don't have to use them all at once. There is no expiration date. You don't have to use a coupon code or anything like that. Just when you buy it, it'll come to my email. When it comes to my email, it'll have a date on it, so I know which one the special was. Plus, it's not that big a deal for me. I'm trying to give you guys a great deal where you're paying for just 3 sessions but getting 6. Okay, so and that ends tomorrow night, midnight. I ran it for about 3 4 days, and then my next sale where I'll do something along those lines will be U.S. Open. Okay. Let's see here. Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome, Mike. All right, Natasha. Very nice. I was given clubs with no real instruction, so this helps a lot. Oh, that's great, man. That's awesome. My putting game is decent, but I have had but okay, but I haven't had much practice driving. Oh yeah, yeah. So this will be fun. So just make sure when you know the number one thing that I would tell anybody is make sure you have the correct grip. And I have a bunch of videos on my playlist. If you look at my playlist, I'll have a bunch where it says all about hand action grip. And so, and if you have any questions, just leave a comment. I respond to every single person. Whoever leaves me a message, I will get to it pretty quickly. It pings me. This is my life. And so it's not that I don't have a life. I'm just saying that I can usually answer comments. So if you have questions or you want to see something a little bit different in videos, or you are just uncertain, okay, because life is about communication, just make sure that you have the correct grip, because once you have the correct grip, life is so much easier. If somebody would told me how simple the game would have been if I just would have put my hands on it correctly and then just let this weight swing, you know, I mean, we could all talk about different places in life I might be, but it took me a while to see like, wow, can it really be that simple? And it was, because, and I don't say this to impress you. I say this to, kind of impress upon you that you can really play some really good golf. Like yesterday, and I videoed some of it. I was 5 under on a little 9-hole course and had a little hole in one that was like a 60-yard shot. Um, and I felt like I couldn't miss a shot, and it because all I was doing was just letting the weight go, and the distance control was consistent, and that's what I want for you guys. Okay, I don't play much. That's what I want you to kind of. I want to try to start to play a little more, because I still want to feel that love for the game. It's like if you become really. I know this sounds bad, but it's like if you become really good at something, then and it's not really a strain or struggle to do it, then you kind of lose focus on just doing it because you can do it anytime. And that's how simple and easy this game can be if you get the correct grip and the correct grip pressure. Promise. All right, let's see. Well, thank you, Natasha. I really do appreciate it. And there'll be a time. And I did do one that was like a shirtless video, like one of my first years when I did it. Um, so there's a slight difference in more muscle. But you will, as I'm 54 years old, so I know that you lose muscle every year, and so this is one of those things. And a lot of my clients and subscribers are a little older, so it's very, 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 very important. Please do some kind of strength training. I said gymnasticbodies.com is a wonderful mobility and strength thing. Uh, Anything beats nothing. Making sure that you're going to get your protein sources. Try to get urolithin A, which is a wonderful compound that helps you build muscle and retain muscle as you age. Look into peptides if you have any questions. I've done things with peptides as well, and that's a huge deal. And you can leave me comments and ask me questions as well. And I appreciate that. And thank you for the comment and the support. And I'm hoping that everybody lives longer and has less chances of Alzheimer and dementia and cancer and all the horrible things. And that we take care of each other, love each other, and be able to play this great game longer. All right, let's see. Yeah, thank you, man. That's good. That's good. Now I'm gonna have a hell of a hard time with keeping width and getting narrow, both back and down, and perhaps even long. Any thoughts to stay compact? Yeah, really. Just again, like I said before, really feel like that. Do that left hand only drill. Do it where I even have a golf club. Like the little an actual weight on a string that swings kind of to and fro with it. Hang on a second. I'll get it. And I even have. Ooh, sorry, guys. And this is by my friend Doug Hackle, who kind of makes this thing where you can adjust it to a certain length as well. This is like the little ball on a string. This is, we shouldn't. It's like Ernest Jones stuff. It's the triple force and all that. But when you swing it correctly, it'll just go right over your shoulder and over your shoulder. And can you see how freely this is moving? And if I did this with linear action with my arm, yeah, I'm no different than you guys. See, look, I can't. It'll just it'll hit me hard. See, but this is like, see, it'll just go right over my shoulder, over my shoulder. Now look, see how much my shoulder is moving freely because of my golf club swinging freely from back and forth. So any kind of weight on a string is a wonderful tool to work on and get the feeling of and seeing. So I know Quan does this with like a rope, kind of deal. But this is pretty good. Anything like that, tennis ball on a string, weight on a string, is really it can't be overstated. See how simple that is and balanced that is. Okay. Hey, Samuel, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. People don't realize they stand too wide because, for one, you shouldn't think about where the golf club goes or the arms. Right. As soon as you try to start doing something with arms, you have a very linear motion. If you stand really wide, now you have to move center of mass with it. That's why it's a little different when, like a Jimmy Ballard, who would who's a bent leg trail leg and has everything moving from here and then recenter in here. That is, so you can tell how that is not a centrifugal force motion. So who was the one that had probably the easiest and the most hand action and played in an era where um, he had horrible golf equipment and shafts and won the amateur slash and grand slam, Bobby Jones. And how wide was his stance? I mean, just success leaves clues, right? If you ever go back and watch Bobby Jones, he had a very free hip turn that he talked about, but he also had a very supple, free hand. So when he stood very narrow and had the golf club swinging and the body responding, look how much leg action you have. Now I'm a 6'3", 220 Bobby Jones, but then you could see how the hands would move. So I'm not cupping my wrist. I'm just letting the golf club swing. And then, his golf club would swing and then he would swing on through. And he won a lot of golf tournaments and his feet were like that. And he even said that when he got his stance too wide, he would block off his body. Now he would say hip turn. I would say body supporting. Pretty cool, huh? Let's see. And your thoughts on grip going left, like by the right thigh, I guess, meaning to make the grip go backwards faster in the right spot. Yeah, so you can play around with it. Some people, I'm okay with it, right? Like the more that you would push into the ground, but then I could push into the ground really hard, but then have tension in my hands. It it still has to focus on the hand softness, suppleness, and then I can practice. So this would be more of a lead leg. So if I put in the pressure into my right and let the golf club swing, you'd see that I'd have more weight on my left leg there, and then it would push me away. So they're a little different, and they're just support systems, though. But I feel like a lot of people start thinking about pressure into the ground, and they really lose the sensation of letting the club head swing, which is the real deal here. Okay. So if you got anything out of this, try not to feel like you move your arm so much and try to feel like you're letting the weight of the club swing and letting the hand swing freely over the shoulder and over the shoulder, and that will keep your head on center. Why does that keep your head on center? One is because of the stance width. Two is because you have an attached in and a detached in. So what I mean by that is when I swing this up over my shoulder, this arm stayed relatively straight, has a slight little bend because of the left hand hinging over. And then this elbow and hand and arm, what? Bent a little, right? For width. That keeps my head on center. If I took the golf club back with both arms extended like this, my head has to move off the ball. Anytime you take both arms off the ball, your head has to move off the ball, one way or the other. Okay. So when you have this on this side, you'll have that on that side. So your head can stay on center, your body supports, and you just, keep winning. All right. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, that's 1,000%. Yeah. See, so like for instance, what he asked about Quan, he said Quan does similar. Now, Quan is more of a lead leg person with the weight on a string. And the reason is because he wants to feel, for people, he likes to feel the bigger trigger out here. He talks about it where the weight is more on the left and then it goes right. So when it goes right, the golf club then just swings back, and then he has a tendency to what he calls fall, which means all my weight's on my left leg at the top of the swing, like so. Then the ground pushes me, and then the club swings through. So, and he calls it a shift and turn, and that's fine, and it has its place, and there's nothing wrong with that, as long as the golf club is swinging by the correct hand action by then the body can support that. See? So if I just said, like, look at the difference, that's lead, and then that's middle, and then that's trail. But what you saw was my hand still doing the same thing. So I'm not talking bad about what he does. Him and the Zen GRF guy, they're doing very similar things, and they are lead leg uh, kind of biased feel, and that's what they feel, and that's what they like, and so that's what they teach. Let's see here. Do you feel like your wrists are releasing down right at the transition down? No, that's a great question. You like, do you feel like I'm snapping it down here? I'm actually not. It's like all I'm doing is letting this weight of this golf club swing freely here and swing freely over my shoulder. Now, as I get here, and if I want to, and I'm just choking down to show you the left hand, it doesn't matter. Um, if I'm trying to hit a lower shot, I can either A, just go slower, which will lower the ball flight that way, or B, I can kind of hold off the pendulum on the follow through, like so, and that will bring the ball flight down. It also cuts distance though. So anytime you're trying to like hit like a little low punch shot, the reason why it cuts distance, even though it's compression, is because the grip end doesn't do this. So when the grip end does this, you have speed. So I'm never trying to spin my hand. See that? See how the grip end goes that way? So you just want the golf club to swing freely over your shoulder and the grip when you hit the ball here to be in line with the left arm, but then it's only there for a fraction of a second because the left wrist goes into extension and the grip end points at the ball. And that's maximum speed. Okay. This here and then turning through and having the shaft for compression like this and then extending out later is not the fastest way. You can still hit the golf ball a long way. There's still people that can swing 120 plus miles an hour doing this that are really good athletes and then go like that. But make no mistake, this will be the fastest way. That is a circle and that's centrifugal force, a double pendulum. Okay. If it wasn't, then they would have used because the golf swing is also like a up for this motion is also like an upside down trebuchet. If you don't know what that is, just chat GPT it. It's where they literally let it go and it broke, uh, like castle walls, right? So the reason why it did is because it went around and then it would snap and it would boom, right? So if it went this way and it kept on pushing, then the rock wouldn't have gone there as fast, right? So, yep, you're keeping your trail leg bent. And you can't mix this, okay? So you can try, this doesn't work. If you are someone that is straightening the leg and tilting to the left too much, and then the ground's pushing you the opposite way, and that's something that you've kind of fought. Like say my hands and arms get, because now why is that though? If you really understand what I'm saying, class, why is that? Because my arms lifted. See, my arms lifted through me left. But if you haven't that's a real hard thing. So now what happens if I said, okay, swing your hands over your shoulder, but your tendency is to still lift your arm? You've got that so built in that I'm going to take you the opposite way for a minute. And I'm going to say, hey, let's keep your leg bent and let's let your hands and arms be further out here, like a Cam Young, right? Because then you can recenter and have a chance, but you don't have a chance if you just lift your arm straight up, right? So me teaching some that's why I can't teach everybody the same thing. That's why lead leg is not the cat's meow. That's why middle's not the cat's meow, and that's why trail leg or bent leg or straight leg. I don't care. It depends on the pattern and the habit that you have. And I've been very successful teaching all the different methods for different people. Some people try to do stuff that doesn't really pertain to them as we go. That's the by the way, and let me just put one more thing out about the Zoom lessons and why this is so critical that I feel like. Because I'm not perfect. Yes, I know. My ex-wife would definitely agree with that. Uh, being 100% is that nobody really knows, and you have to have a little bit of guesswork. And usually I can tell right off the bat, but sometimes I've been wrong, and because of your past history. If you're an overturner and your weight goes to your left leg, it's going to be really hard, for instance, for me to say, hey, you're probably not a lead leg person, even though your weight is on your lead leg right here. But because your body is twisted so much, let's try to get your golf club on a better plane, and let's see if you swing the better plane and then go left, right? So you don't or left, you know what I mean? Okay, so not everybody swings the same way, and what you think you're doing do two different things. So the reason why I think that the deal of buying the three and getting the other three is really really good is because it might take a couple zooms to kind of get you dialed in, and also what I'm saying to you goes, you don't interpret it a certain way. Uh, it like I said, it takes sometimes a little bit, and it depends on where your starting point is and what is your current movement pattern. That's why I feel like because there's not anybody like you're one of one, so there's not anybody that would tell me like what your swing pattern is maximal supposed to be right off the bat. Just like nobody's going to tell me like what your nutrition should be like right off the bat, or what your lifestyle pattern should be right off the bat, because we're all one of one. We all um, relate and react differently to different stimuli. Yeah, that's 1,000%. If you watch Bobby, he said Maverick just said Bobby Jones was hitting a 245-yard three wood, and it was like a hickory shaft and a golf club that's probably like the size of, gosh, now they don't even you don't even have it. You don't even know if you're not old enough. You don't even know that like the driver head used to be the size of probably like a seven wood or a nine wood back in the day, or smaller. You had curved persimmon face with screws that were half loose, and you thought that's where that whole thing called "hit it on the screws" came from because there's actually screws in the face of the golf club. You know, so I'm feeling old when I talk about that. All right, let's see. I meant grip going left, say down the line. Going grip going left down the line. Oh, kind of left of target to assist release. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's still anytime that the golf club is still so you're saying swinging left like that. So anytime the golf club is going to go down the line and then go left, that's because your left pelvis still wants to turn and you're still releasing the golf club with your body, and the shaft will still go out in front and the golf club will go over here, and that's what a lot of people will teach. But in a pure pendulum release, you want the butt of the club to point back at the golf ball at that position. That means that the left pelvis is supporting, but did not lead and turn. If the left pelvis turns, the right knee will overturn. The golf club will go here. You have a tendency to pull the golf ball a little bit. Actually, watch this. You can pull the golf ball from the inside this way. So a lot of people think this is over the top pull. It is not. It's an inside pull. So you can pull the golf club from going inside, and you'll pull it because your pelvis is going around to the left too much. You body turner, quit doing that. Am I allowing the head to close through impact, or is it more like David Duval type release? Oh, that's a good question. So if you slow it down, you'll see that it goes with the xiphoid process as it swings back, and the chin, meaning xiphoid process, middle of the chest and the chin. And so then when I'm swinging down, my chin is pretty much in line here because of my pelvis being out. I hit the golf ball here and then it goes with it. If you open your head with it, you will have a tendency to open your body more and you'll have a bent arm more in front and the club face will be open. So you better have a stronger grip like a David Duval or slightly shut so then you come through that way. And the hand releases under. David Duval's releases under. So anybody that spins the head will open the body too much and usually have to have a closed club face or something along those lines to do that. The chin will actually now I'm not staring at the ball, but the pelvis being here, can you see where I'm at here? Now, this is all a great question, by the way, and I never really explained it, I don't think. But so my chin is here at impact naturally, back, and it's kind of like over the right ear by the foot. But it's so watch the difference. If I turn my head, see my chin moves, that moves the xiphoid, that moves the shoulder, that moves the pelvis. There's no way I can't be like a freak at the circus and just move my head a bunch without my chest wanting to open. So when you're swinging a double pendulum, your chest doesn't open as much. So you're not turning the body through because that pushes the shaft through. That's a good little tidbit, isn't it? All right. So I'm trying to underhand throw recently, and I've been hitting the heel a lot with the driver. Yeah. So, well, one, you're probably just, to be fair, you're probably not doing what you think you're doing. So even though you're underhand throwing, your grip probably is still a little bit weak in the left hand. Make sure that you can make that little pendulum like motion because if the left hand is a little bit weak, then the golf club will be and the club will be bowed a little bit this way. And if I try to throw my arm will extend out. And can you see how my wrist bone is raised up? So where do you think I'm going to hit the driver right here? See, it's going to go out and I'm going to hit it on the heel. So my opinion would be is that your left hand is either too high at setup or a little bit weak. So strengthen it, and that'll help that left forearm rotate while you throw the arm out. Does that make sense? All right. Yeah. So now, so keeping the fig. So yes. So keeping the figure seven and the hand back goes left further. Now, check this out. When I talk about the figure seven, great question. Okay, is that some people take this actually. So the figure seven is like the arm and the shaft and the hand, and this is with the compound pivot. And when you take it back and your feet move and your weight shifts and all that. Now, what you'll notice though when I do this is my hand still has that cup here. And right here, my golf club is still pointed where? At my target line. And it's over my shoulder because my weight is rotated more. And so when your weight rotates into your right leg and support system, the golf club can't really swing back much past parallel because if it does, the weight will have a tendency to want to shift back to the left and your support system is your right leg. So what happens most people try to do this is they're going to go I'm going to keep this figure 7 intact and I bet you do this, you try to do this and you keep everything together for a long period of time, long period of time, long period of time, and you never had the golf club over the shoulder. So the hand still always does do this. The feeling could be that you're doing this with your arm and that triangle by rolling your feet, but the hand still has to have that motion. You can't do it with and be very very stiff. So some people kind of if again because you can't teach everybody the same thing. So if somebody comes to me and they do this, that's their golf swing. Now, am I going to tell you to make sure that you're swinging your hands over your shoulder? No. I'm going to say, hey, we need to work on some width and extension, right? Because you've got wrist cock, but you don't have width. So I'm going to focus on that. So they've already got this. So now I'm just going to make sure that they have that. So the golf swing to them might feel like I'm telling them to go this way and this way, but then when you add this to the width of the arm, all of a sudden it's in the same spot before. So what you guys feel and real and what you do and all that makes sense. So if somebody opposite, so if somebody sits there is super wide and has no wrist, their golf swing is going to feel like they're doing this. But when you put it together, their golf club will be in the same spot. One thinks they're taking the arm out, and the other one thinks they're taking their hand out. It's the reason why I do it. If everybody had to swing the same way, like a cookie cutter, and there was only one way to swing the golf club, and there was only one, everybody had a universal brain, I wouldn't teach. It'd be boring. It'd be boring. I like the individualism, and then it's like the ultimate, Jenga puzzle, trying to put it together on what's the best way to have you swing a golf club and hit the golf ball. I don't know. Why is that my life ambition? That's weird. Let's see. Can I demonstrate how to work the ball, draw a fade with compound pivot? Yeah. So it's because remember we talked about compound pivot is nothing more than you're supporting your weight on your right leg as you go as the golf club swings as a pendulum. So so if I go and we'll put a ball down here. Now you can't see it because it's like a little foam ball, of course, but so I'll just do it with the shape. Okay. So I can put the golf club with the ball in the middle of my stance. And as I'm making this little pendulum action, you'll see I'll start with my shoulders out to the right, which makes my golf club then swing a pendulum out this way and release this way. And you'll see how that goes and how that's a draw. Okay. Still a pendulum, but my shoulders were there. Now, if I put it and I open up my shoulders like so, and I still swing a pendulum, now you'll see it's outside in, and that's a cut. See, that's the only difference. So you can still do the same thing. Just realize that this little pendulum action. So when you set up for a compound pivot, make sure that your shoulders are to the right for you to hit the draw, or they're going to be a little bit left to hit a cut. But be careful because a lot of people overdo this. Now, one other way, teehee, okay, is if you have a pure pendulum swing with a perfect grip, then I don't have to change anything whatsoever to hit a fade. I could literally just move the ball up in my stance, the golf club in the middle. I could literally just move the golf ball up in my stance one little click, like so. And if I did that without moving my feet or anything, can you see how my shoulders will open naturally? If I bring my golf club from here in the middle and I bring it back one ball, let's do it this way. You tell me what you see. Okay. I'm going to bring the ball now in the middle. So the club is here. So now my shoulders are closed, which means the club will come from the inside square back to inside, but it'll be coming from the inside slightly, which would be a draw. I'm going to move it up in my stance one. So that's the middle. And now it's up. Now it's up. So guess where my shoulders are? They're left. So you can move the ball 1 degree up or 1 degree back, and you can have a fade or a draw, all things being equal. That will change your setup. That is the reason why you do not move the ball position up in your stance, because when you move it up in your stance, your shoulder has to then drop, your head has to be back behind the ball, and this would not be a double pendulum golf swing. This is now going to be something that's kind of tilted and hitting up on it. You can hit up on the ball, club in the middle, with the intention of as you're swinging the golf club, whether you're as you're swinging your hands and the golf club up over your shoulder, are you going to swing it up and out? Are you going to swing it around? Are you going to swing it down? That will dictate the path of trajectory, and that dictates pressure. That's pretty cool, huh? All right. Let's see. Let's see. On the left deal, grip left and the follow through. Why the hip turn left and clear out kind of thing. Wait a minute. You're trying to figure this out. Did you understand what I was meaning by that? Yeah. So if you're here and you turn this left pelvis left, the path will go. The golf club will follow the path of that pelvis as it goes. So that's why when you swing here, the pelvis is out, not behind. Is that what you're referring to? You guys getting, I love the questions. You guys understanding all this? How do I increase the angle of attack with the underhand throw with the driver? So that's all arm for you. So that's the feeling for sure. Now understand that when you are doing more of an underhand throw, you're not doing as much of a double pendulum release where the left hand spins over quickly. You can, but what you're dictating everything on now is the arm. So for you, an underhand throw is slightly different release because what you're doing is you're taking your arm right from the top. So if I throw my arm more under and up, you'll see that I have more pressure on my right foot, and that's going to be a high throw. If I throw my arm this way, I'll have more pressure on my left foot. That's going to be a low throw. Okay. So, and then that'll be medium. So where your arm dictates is where it goes. Now, in the backhand motion, for instance, of the pendulum, I can hold the pendulum off and hit a little lower. I can throw the pendulum out to the right. I can throw it a little bit to the left and hit a fade or a draw. I can throw the pendulum up. Okay. See the difference? And I got more pressure here. So this is how that's why I said practice this with, so double pendulum, you're going to practice more with the left hand for sure to train the left hand to go into extension quicker. And if I go like this, that would be a high draw. If I did that's a low, that's a cut, I'm doing it all with this. Underhand throw is doing it all with the arm going out to the target. So the arm extends out further. Okay. So no, an underhand throw won't go quite as far as a double pendulum release. The right hand and arm is definitely more of a guide that way. But the left hand will turn over. It just turns over a little bit later. But it's far superior to anything else other than as you're twisting the body incorrectly. So does those make sense? It's too, let's see, QWERTY. What's the best no ball drill? If you're doing uh, if you're doing the double pendulum, make sure you have the correct grip. You're feeling the weight of the club. As it swings freely, you're letting the butt of the club here point more at the golf ball and point at the imaginary golf ball and let the golf club swing. Then do it with both hands and then just let that happen. That'd be my number one drill if you were trying to swing a pendulum. They're all different swings and they're all different releases. This is the easiest one that I talk about for people to get the feeling of this being so important. To me, it's the easiest feel once you do it where you don't have to do anything and your hands and arms are trained because of the correct grip and the weight of the golf club just swinging freely. And if you want to feel this another way, this is again one of my old school go-tos is I just take my pointer finger, put it in the second joint and my thumb, second joint and my thumb. I take the other six fingers away and then I just let it swing, and you'll see how freely this golf club can swing right over your shoulder and right over your shoulder. And then you just slowly put your other fingers on it with no pressure, and you'll see how it swings freely. That's if you're doing this. Let's see. Samuel, every time I've asked you a question about my swing, you've knocked it out of the park. Okay, thanks, man. How the heck do you do that? So look, I mean, I've just been a golf pro since I was 19. I've done every golf swing that is absolutely under the sun. I've studied everybody from early on 1900s to now, faults and fixes and understanding how joints work and swing plane and why things happen and all that. Um, I mean, I never ever wanna feel like there's time I mean, I know I'm a great instructor, I get that, I've learned it and studied it, but w that this is also fun for me because it's just, giving back, with the knowledge that I have. I'm really good in 2 topics, guys, fitness and golf, and after that, then I'm pretty dumb. Compared right? Don't talk to me about, either, politics or, anything else. I'll throw God in there top 3. But, I really haven't, finance, other stuff. I'm a 36 handicap, right? So, we all have our strengths and weaknesses, and I appreciate that, and I'm glad that I'm able to help you. Oh, that's funny. No, that's okay. I got you now, Maverick. I see the messages. you're still at it, but my swing looks so goofy." Yeah, but are you hitting the ball well? I don't care. Pretty is as pretty does. The number one thing that I would tell everybody, if you really want a functional and pretty swing, is just really work on the grip, really focus on the grip pressure, which is minimal, and letting the golf club swing and having that weight on a string feel. There is another, I can't remember it. Again, I told you I studied everybody, and there was one that does Ernest Jones exclusively. I can't remember. It's golf 6 4 8 3 5 8 8 golf 815 maybe. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, so I got this from her. I thought it was pretty cool, and so like you get like a tennis ball on a string. Okay, and you sit, "Well, look, I'm swinging it back and forth. Can you see how everything works together?" Now, if I was to have this here and I put leverage on the golf club with my hands, you'll see that the tennis ball just stays right there. See? So, because I think she's a big Ernest Jones fan and swinging the club, and so I can't stress that. That's great. Like, and you'd only do that from, like, as you see, from 9 to 3. If you go further back, that's when you need like the one that has the right 6 iron length kind of deal. But you kind of get the idea of how that swings together, right? So that's the absence of tension. And then if you have an absence of tension golf swing, then you won't have a goofy looking swing on average, right? So usually people have a goofy looking swing, and you're the one that said this, by the way. I'm just kind of quoting what you said. Usually you're putting pressure on the shaft and you're moving the golf club with muscle. Um, and that's why when I do the videos about muscleless or effortless or all of those, they seem to resonate with people. So um, again, if you're late, I am doing a Zoom special where you buy three and you get three free, and there's no expiration date and there's no code needed. You just go to the link that's on here on this site, um, and get it before tomorrow at midnight. And then the next one I'll have a sale, like I think around, like I said, U.S. Open time. Let's see. Yes, 1,000%. I keep the ball position right in the middle, unless I'm feeling froggy and funky. Like I said, my hole in one shot was really cool, by the way. It was only like a 60-yard shot. There was trees overhanging a bunker, and the wind's blowing hard left to right. So I put the ball one back in my stance, which of course closes my shoulder. I aimed a fraction right and let the pendulum swing out, and I hit a little soft 60-yard hook that landed to the right side of the green and spun over and went into the hole. So, but that being said, every shot that is straight, I am putting the club in the middle. If I'm trying to hit a little bit of a fade, I might move it up in my stance a fraction just because that opens my shoulders naturally. And I've learned to do that where it's very, very fractional. See, because of me being 6'3", 220, okay, is that if I move, I'm like a big tree in the wind kind of thing. So I have to realize I don't have to move as much to have the golf club go a great distance. I don't have to put as much effort into it for it to go as much distance because I'm really letting this golf club swing freely. And I don't have to move the ball position or open my shoulders and close my shoulders to the extreme. I think you guys overdo a lot. So if I like really close he said, put the ball back in your stance and close your shoulders, like that's, and then all of a sudden you're wondering why you're shanking it, right? Because you just overdid it. It's the smallest little move that changes this golf swing from being, look, this is square. Now watch this. This is square to where I'm just going to move it one ball back, and that moves my shoulders, and now the path will go more to out. And then there's my shoulders going slightly, and now you'll see it going out. And I didn't even put the golf club on my right hand for you guys to see that. See? So practice this motion, and then you can just change things like that as well. Uh, all right, Maverick. So yep, they go left in physics to release the club with the turn left to get out of the way. Yeah, that's because yes, because they're turning the body through. Yes. Yes, 1,000%. So so my so when I'm swinging through, my forearm is rope. My left hand is going into extension. I'll do it a couple different ways if you guys to see this. So this is called extension. Okay, and the grip in then goes and points at the ball. And so when I do that, the golf club is moving on a circle this way, while the right hand is extending out. So you'll see my arm is here, but my left hand going there. So you guys can see that as it goes around. That is a double pendulum release. What other people are talking about is that because their club face is bowed and shut a little and they come in this way, their shaft leans forward, they turn their body, they've trained to do this, and that release then has to go left around the corner. They also have to keep their spine a little bit more tilted in. They have to have more right lateral bend as they go around the corner that way. Okay. Again, not as fast. I don't care what anybody says. Because if you look at all the long drivers in the world, there's not one long driver, its driver, does this. Not one. Not one. They might do it because they're so darn fast with their irons that they're trying to control trajectory and speed, because if they do this, they hit it off the planet. Totally believe that. But there's not one driver that finishes low and left that turns their body around that swings 140 miles an hour and above. Not going to happen. Even Bryson DeChambeau talks about, because he pulls on the club because his now why does, and we'll get into this for a second, because I find it fascinating, because his grip is weak, because he has the little funkiness that he does where he goes in range of motion. He goes a massive internal here, then external with the forearm, which makes the left hand be weak, which means he likes that bigger grip as well. And then he's trained his golf club to go into a cupped position with his wrist and then pulls down. And when he pulls down, the hand starts to turn. And then he said that he likes to feel the golf club go up and back. So he pulls it down and then back. Well, when he pulls it back, what do you think the left hand is doing? Extension. Right. Because that's the only way that he could then swing and be, he's a world class. And he was like second. He almost won long drive, professional long drive champion of the world, and playing on the PGA Tour or live or whatever. That's incredible. So, no, I'm not discrediting it. I'm just trying to explain to you that he realized, and he had this big YouTube video, big eureka moment that I kind of found humorous, that after all the studying and sciences and all the smart that he is and all that, that he was with Martin Borschmeyer in the middle of the night and hitting balls on the range and realized that this hand doing this as he pulled his kind of shoulder and arm back, that the golf club did this. And he was like, oh my gosh, I released the club and I picked up 10 miles an hour. And I'm like, yes, you will. So anyway, I watch way too much golf and TV, don't I? I don't watch tournaments now as much because but I do have to watch all the YouTube stuff to stay up on it, and I find it fascinating. Let's see. You're not hitting the ball well either. All right, but it's still so much fun. Well, we'll get there, man. Yes, I've actually studied the Count Yogi method. The problem with the Count Yogi method for me was because it's now he says actually I have the book. I read it. I played around with it. Anybody interested in it, I'll sell it back to you. It cost me like $100, but and they don't have them. They don't have much of them anymore. But what he did is he literally had the two finger, he had a what he called a muscleless grip, and he let the golf club go back kind of wide, and he had a lot of wrist here, and then he kind of came and he kept his arms wide as he came through into a nice balanced finish. He just, to me, I didn't have the hand action and the freedom. That's something that he did that worked for him, and man, he was an amazing person. It would have been fun to like have like probably the top, I don't know, you probably put Lee Trevino in there too, but you would put 5 ball strikers only that were like the purest ball strikers, that you would put. You'd put Count Yogi, you'd put Mo Norman, you'd put Ben Hogan, um, you'd put probably George Newton, and you'd put Lee Trevino, uh, as far as the best ball strikers, like pure ball strikers that figured out their golf swing and their motion. Um, that would probably be the Mount Everest, I would say, of actual, coming into the impact and all that jazz, and controlling their ball flight like every single day of their life. So, and they all swing slightly different. So that should tell you something as well. Oh, oh, that's okay. Yeah. So Wild Bill, yeah. So well, the thing is, Wild Bill Melhorn, yeah, he kind of does, but his is a now understand this that so he does the grass cut again. I've studied everybody. But you know, and try to say this in a way. His grass cutter is not going to be a centered or lead leg. His grass cutter is more of like a compound pivot, which as you're swinging it, you're letting the weight go all the way into the right leg over here, centered. Then the weight goes left. Then you crisp the grass, and it's kind of a double pendulum action of the all the joints being supple while the weight. And he teaches the legs moving and the body moving a little bit more to support the weight of the club swinging. And if you want to swing a weed cutter, I have a couple clients that have done that, um, and there's nothing wrong with that, and it helps build golf muscle. But no, he didn't come up with it. That's not even close. You're trying to tell me that he was before that was before Ernest Jones, and then that was before Picard, and you know that was and like who's the first golf instructor? Tom Morris Jr. So that's let's or Tom Morris Sr. So let's give credit where credit is due. They probably, Harry Varden, with the grip. So yeah, I mean, he's just, and I hate. By the way, I hate all method names because the Wild Billhorn method is nothing. It's not really per se a method. It is the feeling of swinging a weed cutter and having your hands, your wrists, your elbows, your knees, and everything responding to a weight. The weight on a string with Ernest Jones. Why does lead leg have to be Zen GRF? I don't know why we have to label it. It doesn't make any sense to me. That's the reason why I say I studied everybody. And if somebody said, if you guys, you tell me in the comment, I want to know because I don't feel like I have a style. I don't. If somebody said, how does Roger King teach? I said I teach everybody everything, and I just try to figure out the way in a in physics and kinesiology that works with your anatomy. That's a good way of saying it. You tell me. I'm curious on this one. And by the way, it's got I have some like zooms and stuff tomorrow, but I'm kind of go over today. Today could be a little bit lengthier session. I love talking golf. Um, I've got nothing to do. Little woman's out doing some kind of hard Pilates class until later, so I don't. I have nowhere to stay. I have nowhere to be. It's just fun for me teaching you guys, and I love the questions. Yeah, check it. Yeah. So thank you for the thing. I killed it on the explanation. Thank you. Clubs in the hand center. Yep. Do it mirror work. Yes. It still looks forward. Yeah, just a little bit. It will. It'll just look forward a little bit because the tendency will be to, but just don't make sure that it's like you're tilted, right? So the golf club has to be an easy way. And this was from, I mean, naturalness, but this is from Manuel de la Torre, who I was one of his golf books great. He was a great world class instructor. He taught lots of people. And he'd get your golf grip and put it over your shoulder. Close your eyes and put it down in front of you, and there's your spot. Like like that would be where nobody would do this with their eyes closed, out of balance, right? Nobody would do that. Nobody would then turn their body to do it, right? Eyes closed, put it right out in front of you, put it on the ground. There it is. All right. Oh yeah, no, I know. Yeah, again, Maverick. I know Mike Austin. He actually did challenge Yogi. And they both are very ego centric, right? And who's what is bigger than the other. and Count Yogi could hit it far. Uh, that there's been tons and tons of testimony. It just didn't work for me, and it didn't correlate to for people of um, I never could teach it to somebody because his hands were actually back. They're actually back of center. They weren't really on center. They were back of center. And he had kind of a that's why his golf swing had like a float load and was longer. And most people don't cock their hands or have the golf club swinging because they're turning. And so to me, it's counterproductive to try to teach that, but it worked for him, right? And if you do count Yogi and you're watching this, don't get mad at me because if you're playing great, then keep doing it, okay? Because he was a world class ball striker and it worked for him. Let's see. Chuck Quinton rotary swing. Yeah, well, no, I mean, yes. Now that is correct. Now I would say that, by the way. So these said Chuck Quinton, who's on Rotary Golf, and he's stealing from me. He now has. Well, he has AI tool, right? He's using Goaty, and kudos to him, by the way. Like he's been doing this for a long time. Goaty is probably now just conferring what I've been talking about with how the body moves and how the hands are passive and how the fascia slings, and it's just another way of saying it. But his name in rotary golf doesn't really, it's not rotary, right? It's now the pelvis is going up and the pelvis is going up. But again, that's his name, that's his brand. I've got nothing but love for him. He has done a phenomenal job, teaches lots of people. There's certain things that when people talk about, they they immediately have a love or an affection for the teacher. They have a connection. They are believing and they can do. So, for instance, if you're a bent leg, trail leg person and you work with a teacher that's bent leg, trail leg, you're going to love him. If you're a lead leg person on nature and you're trying to do what it did, you're going to think he's the biggest idiot. So, I'm sure there's people that have gotten lessons from him that probably didn't like it. And then there's people that had lessons from him that love it. So, we're all just trying to get you guys better in the best way that we can. I think it's pretty cool about the app. I've looked around at it and stuff like that, but to me, it's very it's now technical, but it's helped a lot of people. All right, let's see. Some golf instructors are way too stuck on methods, yes, and taking credit or accusing their instructors about stealing. It's worse than YouTube. Yeah, right. Okay, so let's just put that right on the table that I want you people to know that I do not discredit any golf pro that is trying to help on YouTube. Do I agree with everything that everybody says? No, but that's what makes the world go round. But I have tried to learn from every single person or instructor. I might disagree adamantly with 90% of the stuff they say, but there might be 10% that I go, "Oh, man, I like the way they said that. That makes sense. Oh, I'll put that in my toolbox." Check. Right? And so it's like the more you study everybody, the more that it just becomes very easy for me now to see how the golf swing is if you could just relate it to the club moving in this manner, how easy and free this is with the most swing speed with least amount of effort, which means you don't then have to practice that much. Not that you maybe you guys like practicing a lot, which is fine, right? And isn't golf just the ultimate? And I know there's probably women that watch this. I know there was Natasha on here, and so I'm not discrediting you whatsoever. And welcome to the game. Um, if you're an analytical person, like guys want to fix things, right? Like if you're in a relationship with your wife, wife comes home, tells you she had a bad day, you're like, what can I do to fix it? What can I do to make it better? Golf is the ultimate relationship. What can I do to fix it to make it better? And I think that's the reason why this game is loved so much and studied so much is because it's like I gotta find the way to do this, right? And so um, but I tell you what, though, it's refreshing once you kinda have the answers to the test and you've studied it enough and you figured out what works for you and what the method does. Again, that's why I'm trying to, like, what you think you do and 2 different things, are 2 different things. And so let me speed up this process. I've been a golf pro since I was 19 years old. I'm 54. I've been teaching for 35 years, and I have been playing more than that, and I've studied everything. So, you know, success leaves clues. Let me speed up your process so you can then get on and play really good golf and enjoy your life. That's the reason why I do the Zoom lessons, membership, stuff like that, and do these things. Man, that is a oh, okay. Hit one for you. Sure. Sorry, dude. Well, I mean, I'm answering so many questions. Okay. So, and I'll make a little bit more of a faster swing on that. Let me see. So, by the way, I haven't hardly hit a golf ball today. Okay. So, subscribe, my man. I swing about 100. I swing between 130 and 140 miles an hour, which is kind of fun for a 54-year-old guy. All right. Let's see. What's the first thing you look at swing wise when looking at a student besides the grip? Posture, and then how their body supports the motion. That's really that's the first thing. It's real easy to see if I see somebody like this and they turn their body right off the bat, then I know they're I mean, and people are like, "Do I need to see down the line or in front?" Just in front's fine because if you see this, then I know where that golf club is going, right? So if my pelvis goes like way, like way out and the head's over here, then I know my arms have to be up here, right? So that's the reason why. If somebody tells me, "Hey, I hit the ball on the hill with another hand throw," well, then I know your left hand's weak or it's in the wrong position to raise your elbow up. And, these are just things that I look at. Hey, hey, Scotty Scheffler fan, I appreciate you, man. Sent flyer for 30 jewels. I appreciate that. Thanks, man. No, I am not a scratch golfer. I'm a professional golfer. I shoot anywhere from 62 to 74. When I play, it just really, those are my last rounds. I just played a little par three course where I was 5 under. If you watch some of my videos, I did a live view where I hit lots of chip shots, pitch shots, things like that. It's like a little short 9 hole course, par three. Um, I I don't have a handicap. I probably play 6 to 8 times a year, though, for a full 18-hole course, and usually that's on some kind of resort course when I'm on vacation, or if I go and, do a playing lesson with somebody. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, I never said yep, yep, the biomechanics lady he had back then, yep, got got screwed out of millions according to her mind emotion golf at Colorado National. Oh, you missed it? One more? Sure. Do you want me to go? By the way, I'll do a couple. Okay, so like this will be the weight on a string, and I'll just kind of go like if you can see how my weight of the golf club swings freely, and then I'll go where let me go slow so you can kind of see it as well. Does that kind of help you guys? I'm just letting the golf club swing, swing. Anyway, does that help you? He said he wanted to see me swing some. That's all. Uh, yeah. So yeah. So basic. Yeah. So there is again, it's just different. So, like, so when I go here, my golf club just automatically when I whip this over, it just whips over my shoulder, and my right arm automatically extends out and over. It's just something that I know that especially as you swing faster and faster as you get older, like the last thing. So watch the difference of when I throw my arm out, how much slower that is compared to my golf club just whipping over. See, I'm not even see how my foot and my leg just all responded. See, I didn't drive down. I didn't try to turn. All that stuff just happened because my golf club went over my shoulder here and over my shoulder there. Thanks, man. I well, no, the giveaways like what I do is, I haven't done that yet, but I've only been doing it a couple years, so I haven't really gone out with other um, I don't know. I haven't done like, I haven't asked other golf pros on YouTube to, cross platform and go out and play a round of golf with them or stuff. I'm really busy with, trying to finish my book and have a life and, see my mom and then also do Zoom lessons and content. It's a lot, but I am slowing down a little bit, and I do want to help people. So the giveaway that I do is like if you buy the 3 Zoom lessons, you get 3 free. I mean, to me, it's a great deal. I get to know you. I get to see what you're doing with your golf swing. I get to fix you. It's kind of a win-win, right? So, and I'll do that from time to time, throughout the year. I also, and I'm really, and I've got a few people that have reached out to me. I think one from Arizona, one from Orlando, where I'm probably looking to do a golf clinic. But I've got to get with the resort there as well and just try to put like a little package together and who would be interested in that. And I'll have something like, 6 to 10 people that like stay at the resort, food's included, round of golf, the clinic of the golf swing, short game, stuff like that over like a weekend or like the middle of the week kind of thing, like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday kind of thing, something like that. So I will be doing some of those as well because I feel like that would be even more fun to go to a location and to meet you guys that do that. So if you guys are interested in that, I know a lot of people have said before that's something that is going to be in the works as well. Sorry about that. I see as I get aggravated as you deserve more than. Oh no, it's fine. No, I appreciate that. No, so the swing's a wide, narrow. I just don't label it that way. I think that because if I say wide, then yes and no. So if I think wide for somebody, then they're gonna probably take the golf club away wide, 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 and then narrow, 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 narrow. Whereas that happens naturally with the golf club just swinging with the hands going freely over the shoulder here and over the shoulder here because as the golf club drops by gravity, the arm then it kind of, will feel like it falls and comes in and then the golf club whips on the other side. So it does go wide, narrow, but I don't want you to really think about that. That would be something that would probably, really kinda screw people up. "Oh, no, I don't care." No, it doesn't. No, I appreciate that. No, Maverick, he is, he's been doing it longer. He's talking about rotary golf. He's been doing it longer. Uh, we're all I mean, what's the best way to say it? We're all plagiarists. Right? Unless we are I learn from every single person. So if somebody says, "Oh, you're talking about the hand action Manuel de la Torre." Yeah, I studied his stuff. And Ernest Jones. Yeah, I studied his stuff. Or, if somebody said, "Hey, move your core like Chuck Quinton said," I've studied it. And if that's a feeling that you do and you do it well, that's fine. I don't, I have no ill will. If anybody sees me, and said, "Oh, I wanna copy," and because I see a lot of golf instructors now on YouTube starting to kinda sound like me on certain things. That's fine. The I don't let everybody get a piece of the pie. I am com we're only here for a short while. I feel like I'm just trying to give back, and so if I'm putting out good knowledge that somebody is gonna enjoy this even while I'm dead and gone and my, you know, uh grandkids, nephews, and nieces are, gonna be getting the money from the royalties of this, considering how big I grow, so be it, right? So I'm not trying to, uh, I don't. There's nobody trying to like steal something from somebody. We've all learned from every single person. Like every golf pro I've ever ran into. It's like if I was, um, even local golf pros, I might have learned something from, Brad Shirley, a head pro over at Country Hills, might have said something. John Spellman over at Richland, or Chris Coffin, who's over at West Haven, might have said something to me that I put in the toolbox. It's like I'm not stealing from them. It's just we're all in this together, just trying to figure out a way to communicate to get you guys to move. So But I do appreciate your loyalty of that, and I see things. I'm not oblivious to people that are using some of my terminology and things. But again, that's all fine. It's all good. Oh yeah. Ooh, this will be fun. So I got a question now. I love this one. I really struggle with putting distance control. Any general tips? Yes. So this is because it's 1 second. Okay. So you only have two ways to putt, and I've done a video on this before, so bear with me on this. You either have the shaft, grip, and head move together back and forth, and this is called pushing the golf club and pushing, and that's what most tour pros do. They will set the golf club in the middle like so, and they will have it where this goes back together and this goes through together, and they kind of like rock their shoulders, swing their arms, whatever it is that you do. And so you would only do that by the length. Now, I will say that most people grip the golf club a little bit incorrectly with this because they have the left wrist where it can do this and rotate. Now, that's what I want to have happen in the golf swing. That's not what I want to have happen putting. So you want to take your left hand and you want to turn it to the left where this snuff box here or scaphoid, whatever, okay, a bone. Now, if you'll notice, look what my wrist does when I move it. So it's not, I'm never going to pull a putt this way. So my left hand is always a little bit with this is over on this side. So now, even if I swing it where there's just a push or a pendulum, which is what I do, like this, because then I put my left hand in this position and my right hand just matches it slightly under. So this right wrist bone is on this side. That allows, watch, the pendulum to swing, but you'll see that and if you watch this closely, you'll see that the stroke, the face never opens or closes. So it's a pendulum. Now, if you put your left hand over where this wrist bone is on top, and I make that same motion, you'll see that the golf club will have rotation and the face will rotate. And this causes pushes and pulls, and people go, this is a horrible way to putt. So, and it's not. There's nothing wrong with a pendulum stroke, but you have to turn your left hand to the left and the right hand to the right, and now you can make a pendulum stroke and the stroke goes back and forth the way it's supposed to. Or you can lock the joint if you want to and just push it back and forth. But make sure the left wrist bone, you won't hear that in many videos, by the way. This left wrist bone is to the left and this right is to the right. And when you do voila, now the wrist bones can't rotate like this and hit pushes and pulls. Are you loving that one? You should love that one. There's a little AT&T bonus coverage for you right there. Man, I appreciate it, Gregory. Thank you for the comment. That's very nice of you. Man, Maverick, I appreciate that. You know, yeah, I didn't know all the stuff. I mean, I've just little by little kind of pieced it all together. And YouTube has also given me the platform to become a better teacher and to be able to put all of this into a very knowledgeable database for people to be able to go back and look at it and stuff. So, um, Ernest Jones, the only book I haven't read, and I need to now after studying you. Yeah, it's called. I think it's called "Swinging in the Golf." Now, it's pretty simple. It's a good, fun read. You'll look at it and you'll just be like, you'll have probably so many aha moments from that book that we talk about it. Um, and isn't that interesting too? Because Manuel de la Torre, his father was taught, Angel was taught by Ernest Jones, and so Ernest Jones would say that he just swings the club head, which is what I'm saying. But in kinesiology terms, from say Manuel de la Torre, he would say that the hands swing over the shoulder and the arm to the target, which is true because the only way to get the arm to go, the hand get over the shoulder is not by the hand or not by the weight of the club swinging, but by the arm going over the shoulder. However, if most people just think swing the golf weight of the club over the shoulder here and swing the weight of the club over here, the arm has to move to do that. But isn't that interesting how you have Ernest Jones and his father having an argument with Manuel about the two different releases, and they're still swing the club bias. Pretty cool. Let's see. Can I explain toe hang and how it affects release and how to use it? Oh yeah. Oh, well, I've always by the way, I have different putters. There was one that was made for me, and it was just a little light, but one of my clients that's, like, 6'5" and 260, um, and he loved my putter, and it was very tall and upright, so he uses that. That's from, actually Brad Shirley at Country Hills, g gave me a wonderful deal on it, and I putted with it, and I've just made so many putts with it. It's a 38-inch putter, but my hand hanging from the ground is 36 with my wrist bone. And so it's just I easily choke down 2 inches every time, and it's the correct grip. So for me having a 35, I have to bend over too much, or 34. So and 38's too tall, so I just choke down instinctively, and it works just perfect. And I'll cry when it breaks because I don't know that putter has probably been the best putter for me I've ever had. Let's see. Using the shoulders as the pendulum, yeah, because if you're using the shoulders and you have the correct grip this way, it's easy to kind of go. Can you see how it also would have a tendency to move your head? So it's because the shoulder joint doesn't really move, it moves because of the spine or the connected to the arm. So if you just move the arms, that moves the shoulder, but if you move the shoulder down, you could change your weight distribution. See, and the stroke can go up and then up. See, it can go up on the backswing too much and up on the follow through. So it's a feel, and there are some people that think shoulder, but they're usually moving their arm. So what they think they do and do are do different things. Uh, Man, you're welcome. You work in golf turf maintenance, and if you ever get your own academy or get back to the golf course, I would seriously think about looking to work with there. Man, I appreciate that, Greg. Yeah, thank you very much. Best tip you ever got was distance over direction. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You don't. I think that once you get your hands, then you're trying to get the rhythm of the stroke. You never want to feel like you hit it. When you hit it, you'll have a tendency to open or close the blade. But if you turn your hands the way I tell you to do, your face shouldn't rotate much, like, at all. So that'd be a good thing to do. So, I'm trying to think if that is where we're at. They're gonna be like, there was something else. Oh, toe hang. Yeah, my bad. That's what I knew I was missing something. Okay, so are you talking about, like, where the so everybody when you swing this golf club is there's a thing called line of force, which is different. And so when I'm swinging this weight, and tell me if this is what you're talking about. When I'm swinging this weight down, the golf club is actually like here. It's going this, like the mass is going that way, like there. So then when I use the back of the hand to then sling it out, it slings out, right? So I don't I don't try to pull it down. I don't try to turn. I'm just letting it fall. But the line of force is going that way. So then when it spins out, it spins to the target. Uh, so the reason, and this golf club is designed to go, and if you'll even if you watch some of my videos in slow motion, so I'm here with my hand, which is the pendulum, and this is designed now from this force this way to then turn, 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 and square up, and then go on through the other side while the other arm goes out. So that this golf club is designed for that. So when you see people like swinging a stick or something, and they're making it go, that's not really teaching you anything because the golf club itself has a force that goes this way and then a rotation. So that's why I say swing the weight on a string teaches all of that feel without you having to manually hit and try to put force down to go out. You don't have to do that. You can, that's a hitting motion, but you can still swing the club by centrifugal force where the golf club goes that way and then spins over. A lot of people don't know that. They haven't studied the golf swing in physics, but there you have it. Would you guys have known that? So if I threw a golf club up here and I'm level up here and I sling it and let it go, my golf club is going this way. And when I let it go, it's going to go over there. So when I'm swinging the weight of the golf club over my shoulder and over my shoulder, the golf club falls right here and then slings out that way. I appreciate it very much. So I can also ask if you have any tips for my irons. I seem to hit them all around the same distance. Yep, 1,000%. So flood network. Look, here's the deal. Okay, 1,000%. Oh, putter toe hang. Okay. Um, sorry, I just went into a tangent for no reason. So if you're hitting the ball the same distance, your club head speed's the same, and all you're doing is pushing the shaft and the face through. That means that you've trained your hand and arm and shaft to go through at this angle, and the club face stays square, and the club just bounces off, and just like that. And so you need to learn now to let your left hand spin, have the grip end point at the ball, and have it spin over. See, look, see the difference? This is extension this way with the arm from here, and the shaft and the arms moving the same pace. And this is now accelerating the club. So if you're hitting the ball the same distance, I guarantee you you're pushing the club through. That's a no-brainer. All right. Putter toe hang, like the plumber's neck. Oh, so if you have that kind of goes with this. It matches. So he asked about a putter toe hang. If you have like an 8802 plumber's neck, something along those lines, the 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 golf club will have a rotation to it. So if you're doing that, you're gonna have more of that neutral grip. You won't have the left hand, the right hand this way. You will have it more of like an open door, closed door motion, or you can counter it completely by doing the correct grip and just because you like that stroke. But why would you have a heel shafted putter if you didn't also have the rotation? It causes, to me, heel shaft putters cause rotation, and then of course center shafted and other ones don't. So I would always do center shaft and have the face angle and the pendulum just move back and forth this way, instead of also then having rotation. So to me, a heel shafted putter is harder to putt, and the putter has to open and close the door. So if you put driver in the middle, yes. Yes, the great question. So if I put driver in the middle, then I either can hit down or up. It does not matter. See? So if I'm here and I have the driver in the middle, I can literally, like we talked about, I can backhand it up and out to the right. And if I do that, where's my pressure? On my right foot, and I'm going to hit up on it. If I just do that, it's going to be more lower. If I go over to the left a little bit, it's going to be a cut. So it's all about me and when I'm doing this and I feel the weight on the string, it's definitely more of a backhanded back flinging action. Now I have both hands on it and it's like cracking a towel or a whip or whatever. But if I just did normal shot, boom, it'd be fine, normal trajectory. And if I wanted to hit up on it, I'll just feel like I fling it more up and out, and that changes pressure. You don't have to move the ball up in the stance for that. People are trying to open the face and hold it, yep, and swing left on an open stance to use the bounce, and they're shanking and digging. Yeah, that's right, because they're not having the golf club swing. Setting up with toe up on oh, damn it, man. I'm getting there. Setting up your toe. You didn't answer. You didn't really ask the right question, but you're still right. Setting up with the toe up on irons due to shaft bend. I never really pay much attention to that. I don't take much of a divot. I'm Tiger that way. He has that, you know, throwing, releasing, swinging left hand, doing the whole thing. And so his shaft doesn't lean super far forward. So for me, I don't really take that much of a divot. I think the average person plays standard length, standard lie. 98% of the world probably swings that way. I think people that are swinging 1 degree or 2 degree up or 3 degrees flat or any other kind of stuff, are probably just asking for trouble, and they're golf swing what they think they do and do different things, and they're not good enough to even matter. So, if you're on tour and you have a lie board and you're perfect and all of that, but centrifugal force basically takes the golf club and it makes it go, and the wrist goes, from as it turns, it goes up like so, and then releases on the other side. If you lean the shaft too far forward a little bit and the club face is shut, you have to have right lateral bend. Now the shaft stays low. That gets deep. That gets really deep. And I think most people, that's the least of their concerns if their golf club is 1 degree up or 1 degree flat or standard. I really do. I think that's like saying I've got a car and I got a whole bunch of dents in it and I don't have an engine. But let me fix the dent. That's kind of what I think of. That's what I think. Yeah, 1,000%. You're gonna feel like you flick it. 1,000%. You're going to feel like that this arm right here stays here and this golf club does this. That is not an early release. You're not gonna do that. The grip end right here is a pendulum, and then it goes and turns over. And when you learn that motion, if you can just do that, that will give you more speed than you've ever had with such little effort that you'll just be like, "Holy smokes, Roger's a genius." And it's not, it's just physics. All right. All right, I'm almost done. I'm getting a little thirsty here. I don't know how long I've been going. It's kind of fun. Shit, 2 hours? Man, you guys show me some love, man. So make sure you guys like and subscribe. Pay attention to that Zoom lesson special. Buy 3 and get 3 for free on my link. Let's see. I love center shaft. I missed my red X. I'm leaning for the putt. Yeah, good man. Just go get your center shaft putter. Let's see. What's the best drill for a correct distance from the ball with a driver? All right. Well, let's see. I'll get my little 48-inch driver out. Something kind of small. Something I haven't hit yet. It's from One Stop Power Shop. 48 inches, 4.5 degree loft for my club head speed. That's 130 to 140. And so, what do I look for a driver? Well, I look for standing tall and natural. I'm gonna put this over my shoulder. I'm gonna stand about 12 to 15 inches apart. I'm gonna put the golf club down in front of me and drop it on the ground. Now, do I look like I'm in balance? Class? Yes. Then I'm good. Pretty simple. Put a golf club over your shoulder, close your eyes, put it down on the ground. You're usually going to be in a pretty good posture. I know that doesn't seem like that's a very big answer, right? So what happens if I'm here and then I reach my arms? Now my pressure's on my toes. Now I'm on my heels. Now I'm on the balls of my feet. So you just want to stand as tall and as natural as possible. Golf club in the middle of the body because that's the only place you're in perfect balance. And then the golf club can just swing freely right over your shoulder and right over your shoulder. I know I got a long swing now with this thing. It's going to be fun to see. Okay. So, all right, 2 more questions for you guys. Again, like, subscribe, share. Look at that little deal because I am doing that deal for man, that golf swing. I just looked at myself swinging. That's a long swing. Um, like I said, like, subscribe, share. Look at that Zoom golf lesson deal because I'm not going to do another one until U.S. Open week, and I'm not sure what I'll do. But I'm here for you guys to give you guys the best deal possible. And let's see here, what do we got? What's the best drill for? Let's see. And when you straighten the left leg, do you feel like you push weight back? I don't. I don't. I'm just responding to the weight of the club swinging. So, um, yep, that's 1,000%. Yep, there you go. Holy marathon night. I know, Craig. That's crazy. You know what happens when the wife's gone and she's gone to a Pilates class and I feel good. I did a workout today. I did a gymnastic bodies workout. Natasha told me that I actually was on here. Don't know if she's still here or not. Says I look good, so I'm like, yay! I haven't even hardly done anything, but man, it was a tough workout. But yeah, so and check out gymnasticbodies.com. Christopher Summers is a world class. He's another one that is just world class instructor. He's got a great book. He's got a great website. Let's see. I was in the first 50 comments or before you swinging out on that last one. Oh yeah, okay. It was 5. It was the first 5 actually. Yep. All right. Yeah. Hey, we need to get together, and you need to send me a video of that, and I'll send you email me at the rkswingking@gmail.com, and I'll send you a link so I can see your golf swing. It'll be fun to see your golf swing. You still got to, yeah, you still owe me drinks in Atlanta as well. So, uh, yeah, I know, dude. I didn't see. They say that, when you do something that you like, you feel like you don't even work a day in your life. I had no idea that I was on here for 2 hours. That's crazy. That is bananas. But I am kind of covering this because since I'm gonna be in North Carolina, uh, because of the Duke graduation, her kids graduating, so I'm gonna be going to that. So I'll be doing some Zooms on Saturday. But other than that, I'm not gonna do a live this week. So this is a double whammy. And when I make little shorts of it, I'll make sure to put this link in the video because I know this is going to be a long video for you guys to try to find all these little golden nuggets. So, all right, guys, I appreciate so much everything. So, I know some of you guys are just popping in. Just enjoy the rewind and the show. And like I said, I'm here for you guys. Like, subscribe, share, and I look forward to working with you. Everybody, God bless and have a great day.